Assalamu alaikum. Hello my friends. My name is Muhammad and you are watching the course of Tajweed, the Holy Quran for beginners. Today we will be talking about some signs that you find in the Holy Quran. We will talk about the meaning of these signs. Generally, these signs are present in the Holy Quran to regulate or to organize where you can pause the reading. You need to learn the meaning on the rule of this signs. Why? Because while reading the Holy Quran, if you pause reading or if you stop the reading where it is not recommended, where it is not allowed to pause, in some cases you will change the meaning. That's why you will find these signs to help you know that in this position you can pause the reading or you cannot pause the reading. What we mean here with pause the reading, we don't mean lunch break. With pause here we mean between or while reading you will make a pause to take one breath. So you will stop reading, will take a breath and you will continue reading. This is what we mean with pause here. So let's go. The first sign we talk about is this sign here. This sign here is like the letter mim in Arabic, and you will find it in the Holy Quran like this. This is here one verse as an example, and you will find this sign like here above words, between words. What this sign means? Stop reading. So where you find it, you need to pause, take one breath, and after that continue reading. You need to pause. So it is mandatory to pause. And you need to pause and you need also to take one breath. Because in some other positions, we have such a rule that says that you need to pause without breath. So in some position, you will make a very, very short pause without breath. But what we are covering today is the common pause. So when you find this sign here, you need to stop reading, pause a little, take one breath and continue reading. So here in this verse, you will divide the verse like this. Here in the middle, the sign of pause reading or stop reading. You need to read the underlined words before this sign together, and where you find this sign, take a breath, and after read the underlined words that are after this sign together. So, فَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُمْ إِنَّا نَعْلَمُ مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. So this is the meaning of this sign. I will read it another time and I will tell you pause where I am pausing. فَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُمْ. Pause. إِنَّا نَعْلَمُ مَا يُسِرُّونَ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ. So this is the meaning or the rule of this sign. It is important, it is mandatory to pause. Why? Look here with me. Here we have the same verse above and also here under. And here I put for you the translation of the verse. Here we have two translations. Above one translation and under another one. Here above If you read this verse without pause here, without pausing here, where you find this sign, you will connect words together and you will have this meaning, this translation here under, which is the wrong one. But here under, if you read the verse applying the pause with pause here in between, in this case you will divide the words, you will make two sentences, and each sentence will have its own meaning. And this is the correct, this is here under is the correct reading. So, to help you understand the importance of this sign, you can consider this sign like the dot. So when, for example, if you like to write a paragraph and you write one sentence, you put a dot. This dot tell people that this sentence is already finished. The sentence has independent meaning. The meaning is finished, and you start another sentences. It is like the same thing. So here in this verse, before this sign, in these words here, Allah is talking to His Prophet Muhammad. Okay? But after this sign, Allah is talking about Himself. So are two different meaning, and you will make two different sentences. You will get two different meanings when you pause where you find this sign. Okay? So this is our first sign. The second sign is this one. No stopping. This sign is a word in Arabic and has two letters. The first letter is the letter Lam. The second letter is the letter Alif. And we read this word like La. La means no. And you will find this word or this sign here, we use it like sign, like this in the Holy Quran. This is here, one verse as an example. Here, above words, you find this sign. So here above it is written La, which means you don't need to pause here. You need here to continue reading. Don't pause where you find this sign. This is the meaning of this sign. So maybe you are wondering, but all these words, it is difficult to me to read all these words without taking a breath. So here, the best solution is to take a deep breath before. So take a deep breath before and start reading. With practice, you will do it. So, وَأَقْسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ جَهْدَ أَيْمَانِهِمْ لَا يَبْعَثُ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَمُوتُ. So this is the meaning of this sign. You don't need to pause. You should continue reading. I don't know why in the newly printed copies of the Holy Quran you will not find this sign, and also in the digital copies of the Holy Quran. So if you are using a digital copy in your PC, for example, you will not find this sign anymore. You will find it only if you have an old printed copy of the Holy Quran. So if you have it, now you know what this sign means. If you don't have it, your teacher who is teaching you how to read the Holy Quran will tell you the positions where it is not recommended to pause. And you yourself, when you start to learn meanings of words of the Holy Quran, you will be able to recognize positions where it is not recommended to pause, or we can say where the pause will change the meaning. And here I have also prepared for you the translation of the same verse. It is the same verse above and also under. And as you can see, we have two translations. Above, if you read this verse and you pause here in this position where it is not allowed, it is not recommended to pause, in this case you will divide the verse. You will make one sentence and one other sentence. So you will get two meanings for each sentence. So here above, the meaning of the words before this sign, their translation or its translation is here under, written also in red. And the translation of these words is here under. So this here above is the wrong meaning. Okay? The correct meaning is here under. You will get it when you read all the words together. So you will connect the meaning and you will get this meaning. So just want to modify it. This here is the wrong one, but the translation you find here under is the correct one, here under. So I just put this translation to let you understand better the meaning of signs that you are applying. So I want you to understand why you are doing this pause, or why you should not pause in some position. The next sign is this sign here. This sign is common in the Holy Quran. You will find it lots of time, and you will find it like this. This here is one example. You will find this sign above words like this in some verses, not in all verses. This sign means you can pause where you find it, and you can also continue reading. It is the same, but it is recommended to pause. And as it is recommended to pause where you find this sign, I want to make it easy for you. So every time you find this sign, pause. Make a pause and take a breath. Pause, take one breath and continue reading. So because this is one option, it is recommended to pause. So as it is recommended to pause, I will pause every time I find this sign. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا سُبْحَانَهُ بَلْ عِبَادٌ مُكْرَمُونَ. So you need to pause where you find this sign here. The next sign, this one, is the opposite of the last sign. This sign means you can pause and you can also continue if you want to continue. But it is recommended to continue reading. So you will find this sign like this here, always above words, in some verses, not in all verses. So while you are reading, you reach this position here, and here in this position you find this sign. Here I have one sign. What this sign means? This sign means that I can pause here and I can continue, but it is recommended to continue with the reading if you can. So I know that it is not easy for you to pronounce these sounds. So this sign means that it is recommended to continue. But if you make a pause and you take one breath, there is no problem. So It is recommended to continue reading if you can. Okay? I will read one time. I will make a pause because it is possible to make a pause. And after that, I will read without pausing. So if you can, it is recommended to continue reading after this sign. If you cannot, do a pause. So I will read one time without making a pause here. وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ وَمَا يَكْفُرُ بِهَا إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ. So I already did a pause here. I paused here because I can. But as it recommended to continue, you can take a deep breath before and try to read all words together. With practice, you will do it. وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ وَمَا يَكْفُرُ بِهَا إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ. So this is the meaning of this sign. The next sign is this here, is the letter Jim in Arabic. This sign is very, very common in the Holy Quran. You will find it lots of times. And this sign means when you find it, you can pause, take one breath, and you can continue with your reading. It is completely up to you. It is your decision. So you want to pause, you can pause. You want to continue reading, you can. There is no any recommendation. But my personal recommendation for you, as it is the same, pausing or continuing, every single time that you find this sign, pause. Take a breath. This will help you pronounce better sounds. And this is one option. It is the same. You can pause, you can continue. So if I can pause, why I don't, or why I don't pause? And you will find this sign like here. In the most verses, you will find it above words. So where you find it, pause. Take one breath and after continue reading. So, قالوا الآن جئت بالحق فذبحوها وما كادوا يفعلون. So this is the meaning of this sign. The next sign is this sign. This sign here is not very common in the Holy Quran. You will not find it lots of times. And we can say, to understand better the meaning of, or the rule of this sign, we can say that in this sign we have two parts. The first part is this three dots, this pyramid of dots, we can call it like this. The second part is this pyramid of dots, these three dots. And you will find it in the Holy Quran like this. This is one verse as an example. You will find this sign here above words, and between the first part and the second part you will find words. Here in this example we have only one word, but in some other examples you will find two words, three words. This sign doesn't mean that you should pause. No. This sign means that if you want, if you like to pause where you find these dots, these signs, you can, but only in one position. So if you pause reading on the first position, it is not allowed to pause on the second position. if you don't pause on the first position, in this case it is allowed to pause on the second position. Always if you want to pause. So here in this verse, we have more than one option to read and pausing in between the words of this verse. The first option is here, this one. You can read the words written in red together and pause after, where you find the first part of this sign. And in this case, it is not allowed to make another pause here. Okay? So if you pause here, in this case you will read the words that are after the first sign, the first part, together. So you will read from here to here and pause. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So this is the first option. The second option is to ignore, to jump the first sign, to not pause where you find the first sign. And in this case, if you like, you can pause where you find the second part of this sign. So ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So this, if generally you want to pause between words of this verse, but you have another option which is not considering this sign and read all the verse without any pause, if you can, if you want. So you can read the verse without any pause. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So what is not allowed? It is not allowed to make a pause on the first position and to make another pause on the second position. What is allowed is you can pause only in one position. The next sign for today and the last one is this sign. We call this sign sajda. Sajda in Arabic. Sajda means prostration. You will find this sign like here. This is here a part of one verse. After words here, you find this sign. This sign is not very common in the Holy Quran. You will find it, if I remember, only 16 times. And you will find it afterwards. And always in verses where you will find the sign of sajda, you will find before one or two words with a line above, like here. So while reading, you come to one verse like this verse here, and you find words with a line above. So you should know that here in this verse, you have a position where you need to prostrate. Why here in this verse you should prostrate? The answer is under the line. What is written under the line is the answer. It's the reason of the prostration. Here in this verse you need to prostrate because under the line it is written prostrate for Allah. So which is like a direct order, prostrate for Allah. So as it is like a direct order, you need to follow the order. So you need to prostrate. But when I will prostrate? After this word? No. After reaching the end of this line here? Also no. You will prostrate once you reach this sign. So once you already read the words that are before this sign and you are here, in this case you need to pause the reading and to prostrate. Prostration of 3-4 seconds. Just to let you know, you need every time that you read one verse like this to prostrate. No, you need to prostrate if you can. So if you are reading the Holy Quran at your home, it is easy for you to prostrate. You need to prostrate. But maybe you are reading the Holy Quran on the bus, on the train, outside home. So in this case, it is not easy for you to prostrate, so you don't need to prostrate. But if you are doing or you are making your prayers, in prayers you already prostrate. So if you are making your prayers and you read one verse with where you find a position of prostration, you need to prostrate. So prostrate for 3-4 seconds and come and after turn back to your reading. So this is the meaning of the prostration, where you find this sign like this after some words in some verses. You need to prostrate. You need to know the reason of the prostration. Look under the line. The words written under the line are the reason of doing the prostration. So that's all for today. To sum up, signs that we talk in this lesson are present in the Holy Quran to help you know where you can pause the reading and where you cannot pause the reading. It is important to learn the rules of these signs, because in some cases if you pause where it is not recommended to pause, you will change the meaning. What we mean with pause here is take a short break and take one breath. So you need to pause and after continue reading. You need to breathe, because as I told you, and we will cover this in other lesson, in some cases you need to pause without breath. So you are asking, you are wondering, I will not breathe. You will not breathe. But it's a very short pause. It's like one second. So it's something very different. But here, in all signs that we talk in this lesson, you need to pause, take one breath, not one breath, and after continue reading. To sum up, look with me here, all the signs we talk today. This sign means to pause. When you find it, you need to pause, one breath, and after continue reading. This sign is the opposite of this sign. If you find it, if you have a copy of the Holy Quran that have already, or that has already this sign, if you find it in some verses, where you find it, continue reading, don't pause. This sign here means you can pause and you can continue, but pausing is recommended where you find this sign. And as pausing is recommended, I recommend you every single time that you find this sign to pause and take one breath. This sign here is the opposite of this sign. You can, when you find it, pause and take one breath, and you can also continue. But continuing is recommended. Continuing reading is recommended if you can. If you cannot and you need to breathe, take a breath. This sign here, pyramids of dots, means that if you like to pause where these signs are present, you can pause, but only on one sign. So if you pause on the first sign, the first part of this sign, you cannot pause where you find the second. And if you like to pause on the second, if you pause on the second, this is allowed. You can do it when you didn't pause on the first position. So the sign means the possibility of making a pause only in one position, not in the pause positions. The last sign is the very common sign of all these signs is here above. And this means you can pause, you can continue. It is completely up to you. And as it is your decision, as there is no any recommendation, my personal recommendation for you, every single time that you find this sign, pause, take one breath and continue reading. This will help you pronounce the sounds better, correctly. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can write for me in comments. See you the next time. Assalamu alaikum.